Okay. Good morning, all. I have shared my entire screen with you and I have started the meeting. If my voice is audible to each one of you and my screen is visible to each one of you, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up in the chat box. You can give me a thumbs up in the chat box. You can write in the chat box visible. Just give me a confirmation. If my screen is visible and voice is properly audible to each one of you, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up in the chat box as you can say visible and audible. Okay. Zainab Khan and Shubhu Gangude. Okay, so my screen is, I hope my screen is visible and voice is clearly audible to each one of you. The students are still joining. Jai Srinifadi, you have raised the hand. So would you like to say something?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Please tell me. Please tell me. Jai Srinifadi, would you like to say something?
Yes, sir. I'm here. सर होत नाही एक मिनिट.
काय होत नाहीये? Okay. Yes, Jai Shri. Okay. So now let's start for the lecture number one. So So the system in mechanical engineering is a subject, and I have already done the introduction to the syllabus, weightage, and credit for the units, and total credit for the subject. So let us begin with the unit number one, that is introduction of the energy sources and its conversion. It has a weightage for 15 marks for in some examination. So what are the different contents? So there are two major categories. Number one is the energy sources, and the second one is the energy conversion devices. So we had already discussed on this point on the last lectures in the classroom lectures. So what exactly in the thermal energy, what exactly in the hydropower energy, and what are the different content that we have to see in the different types of the energy, or say we can say a power plant that we are going to look for the today's session. So the following points should be covered in the mentioned points. So as per the syllabus implementation program, we have to cover the definitions and the units of the energy and power, categories of the energy. That is, category means the type of the energy source, and renewable and non-renewable energy. That is conventional and non-conventional source of energies. Then the thermal energy. In that case, we have to discuss steam power plant and its various components. So these are the some points for the first 3 points that we are going to cover. The remaining point, once we cover these 3 points, then successively I'll tell you what are the different points that we have to cover. Okay. So is there anybody in the queue? Nobody in the queue. Okay. So many students are there in the queue. Okay. So definition and units of the energy. Can anybody tell me what is the definition of what do you mean by energy and what do you mean by power? Can anybody tell me what is the energy and what is the power? Give a short in the chat box. Yesterday we have seen the energy and power. Energy, it is nothing but it is the capacity of doing work. Energy is nothing but the capacity of doing
Yes.
work. So when people are willing to join the session, continuously I am getting the pop-up. That's why I'm coming continuously coming. The ability of then very good. The capacity of doing work very good, great. So I can say if I am there, if I am there, so what is the capacity of doing work? I am there and I have the capacity of doing works. I am the Thor. I have the capacity to do the works. I have to complete my tasks. So, in short, we are defining the energy and the power as energy is nothing but it is the capacity of doing work. Energy is the capacity of doing work. Technically, if we see the definitions of energy, we saying that to do work, we require the energy. Yes, we do require the energy. We say energy is the capacity of doing works. What about its unit? Yes, it has a unit of joule. Energy is having the units of joule. So, if the energy is the capacity of doing work, so it's our duty to define the works. So, what is work? Work is coming into the picture over here. So, what is the work? Yes, we have to define the work. Works is nothing but work is nothing but work is nothing but work is nothing but force into distance, and we can define it as one unit of work is said to be done. One unit of work is said to be done, or one joule of work is said to be done when unit force is applied to move the object through unit distance. So work is nothing but, or work unit work is said to be done when the unit amount of the force is required to move an object through unit distance. In that case, a work is said to be done of unit quantity. Work is said to be done when the force of unit quantity is required to move the object through unit distance. In that case, a unit amount of work is said to be done, and that is nothing but work is nothing but joule or Newton meter. Okay, so we can say work is nothing but the capacity of doing work, and energy is nothing but the capacity of doing work, and work is nothing but the amount of force required to move the object through unit distance. So the unit of work is unit of work is Newton meter. Okay, I guess the work is clear to each one of you, and the energy is clear to each one of you. Then moving ahead, what are the different forms of the energy? Forms of the energy means the type of the energy. Continuously, I'm getting the glimpse. Okay, we do have. So, what about the different types of the energy? We have the mechanical energy. Mechanical energy is nothing but the energy of the object due to its rotation. A mechanical component is rotating, so we can say that the shaft is rotating and it possesses the mechanical energy. Whenever the machine, whenever any component is rotating, so we can say it has a mechanical energy. The mechanical energy is due to the rotation. Then we can see the electrical energy. So electrical energy is due to the movement of electron. So electron is moving from one end to the another end. That is from negative to positive ends. So we can say the electrical energy is a form of energy due to the movement of electrons. Then the heat energy. So the thermal energy is one form of the energy. It is because of the temperature difference. The heat energy is nothing but it is the form of energy. It is because of the temperature difference. We can feel it. The sound energy is the energy generated due to the wavelength of the sound. Then we can say the third form of the energy is the gravitational energy. The gravitational energy is the energy possessed by the body due to its position, or due to the force acting on the body, due to gravitational force acting on the body. The kinetic energy is the energy possessed by the body due to its motion. The kinetic energy is the energy possessed by the body due to its motion. The potential energy is the energy that possessed by the body due to its position. The potential energy is the energy possessed by the body due to its position. Let me check. Somebody is continuously popping me. Okay, none. The potential energy is the energy which is possessed by the body due to its position. Then the wind energy. The wind energy. The wind energy is due to the velocity of air. The wind energy is due to the velocity of air. Hydro energy. The energy possessed by the water due to its position, or we can say the hydro energy is nothing but it is a form of energy due to the stored water in a dams. Then it is converted from one to another, but the hydro energy it is basically the energy possessed by the body, possessed by the water. Then the chemical energy. The chemical energy is the energy due to the chemical compositions and it generated due to the chemical reactions. So endothermic and exothermic reactions are there. So these are the chemical reactions and that is because of the chemical compositions of the body. Then the nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is due to the nuclear reaction or say long chain of nuclear reaction is the nuclear energy. These are the different types, these are the different forms of the energy. We can say forms of the energy, we can say the type of the energy. Then if we go forward, what are the different categories of the energy sources based on the renewable or non-renewable and conventional or non-conventional source of energy? I'm expecting from you and the category or the type of the energy sources that is renewable and non-renewable energy sources that we have studied since childhood. So I'm expecting few answers from your end. I'm expecting answers from your end. What are the different? I'm expecting the examples of Ankush Thorat. I'm expecting the answer from your end. Just give me an example of some conventional source of energies in the chat box. As you can, anybody of you, you can unmute and talk to me directly. Just raise your hand. The sign of raise hand is given over here. You can raise your hands and tell me the answer. My question is, I'm expecting few examples of conventional source of energy. Zainab Khan, Gaurav Handge, Shubham. I'm expecting few examples of conventional source of energy. Anybody can unmute and tell me the answer. Else you can raise the hand and ask me. Zainab Khan is saying oil and natural gases. Okay. Gaurav is saying petrol, oil. Very good. Anybody else? Gases. Janvi Jadhav. Very good.
Coal.
Pre- Prerna Jadhav saying coal. Coal. Very good. Okay. See.
Geothermal and coal.
Pratik is saying conventional sources are like hydro, solar. So you are on the wrong track, Pratik. Darshan Chaudhary is saying, see, the word itself indicate you the answer. So, okay. So, earth, mine, minerals, Gokul is saying gases, Prerna is saying yes. See, conventional, the word conventional stands for the traditional. The word conventional stands for the traditional. The material that we are using, the material that we are using traditionally as a fuel, they fall under the category of conventional fuel. Now my question is, what are the different fuels that we are using traditionally? So we have coals, we have wood, we have oils, we have petrols. These are conventional fuels. Okay. So we can call them as a conventional fuel. but once they used, they cannot be regenerated easier. It takes a decades of time. So even though they are conventional fuels, they are non-renewable. They cannot be renewed. Once they get exhausted, they get exhausted. For generation of them, it takes a decades of time. So the conventional fuels are non-renewable fuel. My second question to each one of you is, what do you mean by? Now, I'm expecting the example of some non-conventional energy sources. Go ahead. You can type in the chat box.
Wind,
Wind
wind
energy.
energy, tidal energy.
Very good, Toke. Jnaneshwari Toke. Good.
Geothermal, nuclear.
Very good, Jayashree. Nice. So the energy sources that we are not using traditionally is a non-conventional source of energy, and few of you have given. Prasanna Ahire, you have raised your hand. So would you like to say something? Okay. So Naneshwari Toke and Jayashree Nifade has given me the answer that there are some energy sources that we are not traditionally using them, and they have given me the answer that the tidal, wind energy, and solar energy. Exactly. This, even though they are non-traditional or non-conventional source of energy, we can use them for a long time period, and once we use them, they get not vanish. They will no vanish. So they are renewable source of energy sources. So they are renewable source of energy. I guess my point is clear to each one of you. Let's move towards the presentation. The point is, what are the different categories or the type of the energy sources as the renewable and non-renewable? That is conventional and non-conventional source of energy. So non-conventional energy sources, if we define them, the energy can be defined as the ability to do work, the different form of the energy. So the energy can be obtained in any number of ways. So these are the different forms of the energy available with us. Let's move me towards the conventional source of energy and non-conventional source of energy. So conventional or non-renewable source of energy are those which cannot be replaced continuously or that cannot be used again and again. Once they used, they get vanished. So examples are oils, coal, petroleum, and the nuclears. These are the conventional source of energy, that is non-renewable source of energy. A non-conventional source of energy, just like Toke and somebody has given me the answer that solar energy, wind energy, biomass, tidal, hydro, geothermal, these are the different forms of the energy that are renewable, that can use again. They are not vanish even though we are using them for a long time period. Okay. We can obtain renewable energy from the sun, from water, from wind, from crops, residues, and waste. So, till we are there on the earth, these all forms of the energy are available on the earth. So, they are the renewable source of energy for us. So, renewable source biomass is there, wind is there, geothermal is there, hydropower is there, or hydro water energy is there, and solar energy is there. Non-renewable, we have the non-renewable source of energy. Coal is there, natural gases are there, nuclear energy is there, or nuclear fuel is there, fossil fuels are there. But once we use them, they get vanished at certain instants, and it will take a long period of time for the generation of such a time of the fuels. So up till now, what we have studied? We have studied the what is renewable source of energy, what is non-renewable source of energy, what are the conventional source of energy, and what are the non-conventional source of the energy. Non-conventional sources of the energy. Now, the third very important point for the today's lecture point of view, the thermal energy. Thermal energy, in that what we are looking for? We are looking for the simple steam power plant, which includes boiler, turbine, condenser, pump, expected cover for the electricity generation purpose. Okay. So when we are talking about different types of the energy sources. So like non-renewable source of energy. We are using coal for burning. We are using natural gases for the burning. We are using nuclear fuel for the chemical reaction for the heat generation. When we are talking about the fossil fuel, we are using them for the burning. The point is ultimately whatever the fuel is there, we are using to generate the heat. That is, we are obtaining the energy of fuel as a heat. And then, as we are not, we cannot use heat directly for multiple tasks or multiple works. In that case, we are converting one form of energy into the another form of energy. That is the heat we are converting to do some work. Like, I wish to charge my mobile. I wish to charge my mobile. I have coal, natural gases, but I cannot charge my mobile phone from the coal. I need electricity. So for the conversion of coal energy into the electricity, we need some source, we need some medium, we need some machineries. For conversion of heat or energy produced by the natural gas, nuclear and fossil fuel, we need some setup. So once we are obtaining the different energies or say electricity from the different raw materials, we need a machines, we need a reactors, we need a power plant. So the way we are converting one form of energy into the another form of energy, that is nothing but the power plant. So when I am using the thermal energy as raw material, in that case, that type of the energy is said to be a thermal power plant. When I'm using water as a primary input for the energy conversion, in that case, the power plant is said to be a hydroelectric power plant. When I'm using the nuclear energy for the source of primary for fuels, in that case, the power plant is said to be a nuclear power plant. Similarly, when I'm using when I'm using solar, it will be a solar power plant. When I'm using hydrogen, hydro, that is water, in that case, it's said to be a hydrogen power plant. When I'm using wind as the energy, in that case, I'm saying it as a windmill or wind power plant. When I'm using the geothermal energy, in that case, the power plant is said to be a geothermal power plant. Okay. So I guess the concept of power plant is very much familiar with you now. Huh? What is power plant? Have you understood? I guess you all are understood what is the power plant. One form of available energy is converted into the electricity with the help of some setup. That setup is known as a power plant. Okay. Now moving onwards for the today's point, that is thermal power plant. Thermal power plant. My question is, my question to each one of you is related to thermal power plant. What are the different modes of heat transfer? What are the different modes of heat transfer? Like I'm telling you one form, you have to tell me the another form. Huh? Conduction is one mode of heat transfer within the material. I'm expecting another two modes of heat transfer. Conduction and anybody else? Naneshwari, Jayashree, Saurabh, Darshan.
Radiation.
Yes, correct. Tell me. Tell me.
Turbine.
No, 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 no. Thoki, you are telling me something. Vaishnavi, you have raised your hand. You are willing to tell me something? You can type in the chat box too. Yes. Vaibhav is saying convection and radiation. Very good, Saurav. So there are three modes of the heat
Radiation.
transfer. Number one is a conduction, second one is a convection, and the third one is a radiation. Very good. As you know, these are the modes of heat transfer. But what exactly they? So conduction means what? Convection means what? And the radiation means what? Can anybody tell me? Can anybody tell me? What do you mean by conduction? What do you mean by convection? What do you mean by radiation? I'm not asking you the technical definition. I'm expecting the answer from your end, what you know. You can talk to me in Hindi, English, Marathi, no issue. Kiran. Kiran Raut. Please tell me. Anybody? Prajwal radiation. Huh. Conduction. Can anybody tell me what do you mean by conduction? Pratik, very good. Conduction, solid to solid, heat transfer. Very good, Pratik. Solid to solid. Gaurav is saying process in which heat moves through. Uh, it is something copy paste answer, I guess. In which moves through gas, liquid, matter. It is transfer heat to heat. Convection, fluid, heat transfer, fluid to fluid. Okay, conduction, convection, radiation. Very good, Pratik Vaibhav, and Gaurav. So there are three different modes of heat transfer. Number one, the conduction. Second is the convection, and third one is the radiation. So in conduction, heat is transfer takes place between the object by direct contact. Like over here, you can see the metallic rod is coming in contact with the heat, and once heat hit, one end is started heating and it transfer the intermolecule or molecules are transferring it by adjacent molecule, and then the temperature is raised to the end of the rod. So this is the conduction. In case of convection and the radiation, the heat is transferred to the person through the air as a medium, convection through the medium. And in case of radiation, the heat is transferred to the by means of radiation directly. No, there is no any flow of the fluid. Conduction, metals to metal directly contact, or object to object, or molecule to molecule, then by the flow of fluid and by the radiations. Just like heating up a teapot, energy is transferred by the metallic bodies within the molecules movement, and we'll see the application. Now, this is all about the mode of heat transfer. We let how heat is transferred from one point to the another point. The only the three modes are available with us. That may be either conduction, convection, or the radiation. Okay. So the question that is basically asked related to the thermal power plant is right now it is online examination, so the no concern is there. But when it is offline, the question is usually asked, explain with neat sketch thermal power plant. That is the question, and we are looking for the answer of that particular question. Okay. So this is the GIF for the thermal power plant. So what are the different component? What are the different parts of or component parts are involved in the thermal power plant that we are going to see? Okay. So this is the block diagram. This is the working diagram. This is the block diagram. This is the two-stage thermal power plant. Low, high pressure turbine and the low pressure turbine is there. I'm going to tell you, don't worry, what exactly the things are going on. Okay, so this is a simple layout of the thermal power plant. Okay, so the thermal power plant layout begins with the boiler, then superheater, then the steam turbine. There is one nozzle is there, but nozzle is not shown over here. Let me check the nozzle is provided over here or not. Okay, so superheated steam directly pass to the turbines. The nozzle is not mentioned. Okay. So boiler is there, superheater is there, and then the superheated steam is allowed to pass over the turbine. The turbine is connected to some generator. Then the remaining residual steam is entered into the condenser. Then the condensate, that is condensate pump is there, and then feed water pump is there. My point is, what are the different components used in the thermal power plants are? Number one is a boiler. Number two is a superheater. Number three, it is steam boiler actually. It is not steam. It is steam boiler. Let me correct it out. It is a steam boiler. It is a steam boiler. Then steam condenser and feed water pump. These are the five major components involved into the power plant or thermal power plant: boiler, superheater, turbine, generator is there. Generator is the outer part. Steam turbine is there. Condenser is there. Condensate pump is there, and feed water pump. These are the five important components of the thermal power plant. Let's have a revision. Boiler, superheater, steam turbine, steam condenser, and the feed water pump. Now, tell me the answer. What are the different components involved into the screen? Screen is not visible. Vaishnavi Erinde. Everybody, my screen is visible or not?
Yes, sir.
Visible, na?
Yes, sir.
Yes, somebody is saying not visible. That's why. No, sir. Utkarsh Bandhan. So many people are saying it's visible. Please log out and then join so that it will be visible to you. Prerna is saying not visible. Resume printing. Because, okay. So, Nikhil Joshi, my screen is visible or not? Anybody, please give me the answer. Bhumi Sonone, my screen is visible or not? Yes, yes, sir, visible. Okay, good. So my question to each one of you is, what are the different component used in the thermal power plant? Please go ahead and type your answer in the chat box. What are the different component in the thermal power plant?
Superheater,
Start from the boiler. Yes, very good, Ayush Jain. Boiler. First is boiler. Second is a Bhakti. Superheater. Kiran, very good. Prerna is saying feed pump. I'm expecting in the sequence. Let me show you again, and I'm expecting you. So this is the sequence starts from this. Steam boiler, superheater, turbine, condenser, condensate pump, and feed water. Check it out. Boiler, superheater, steam turbine, steam generator, feed water pump. Okay. Now tell me, what are the different components involved into the thermal power plant? Pump? No, no, no. Start from boiler, please. Boiler, steam meter, very good. Steam turbine, condenser.
Boiler,
Two parts are
superheater,
joined.
steam turbine,
Steam turbine, then
generator,
generator. Okay, then Shivani
condenser,
Godse, boiler, superheater, steam. Okay, boiler, superheater, steam turbine, steam condenser, and feed water pump. Okay, very good. Boiler, superheater, feed water. Very good. Feed water. Very good. Nice. Great. 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 So I guess everybody is understood what are the different component involved into the thermal power plant. Okay. Now, what is our agenda? We have to look for what they are doing there. If boiler is here, then what is the function of boiler? Superheater is there. What is the function of? So we have to see. We have to see the different functions of different parts of. Hold a second. Hold a second. Hold a second. Hello. Hello. So once we come to know that these are the different parts involved into the thermal power plant, our target is to understand what are the different functions of this particular devices. Okay, the devices or the component. So the boiler. What is boiler? So boiler is a closed conductor. So just have a look of the uh, part, then I'll tell you what is their function. Okay, so it is the boiler. Boiler, it is consists of the furnace. It has a water tank. It has steam collector. Okay, the furnace is there, water tank is there, and the steam collector is there. This is the boiler. Just have a look, then I'll tell you the detailed description about the part component. Then the steam turbine. Then the steam turbine. Okay, this is the steam turbine. Steam turbine is just a component which has a shaft over which the vanes are mounted. We will see its function, no worry. Then the condenser. So the condenser, it is used to condensate the steam. It is used to condensate the steam. It is also a closed conduct. Then feed water pump. So feed water pump, it is device which is used to pump the water from low level to high level. Then the working of, now we are coming to the working of the thermal power plant. Okay. So before going to the exact technical working of this power plant, let me tell you something. This is the boiler. Just now we have seen the function of, just now we have seen the component of the boiler. Boiler, it is a steam generator. Boiler, it is a steam generator. Let us move towards the steam generator boiler. A boiler is a pressure vessel. Boiler is a pressure vessel which is used to generate high pressure steam, or we can say boiler is a steam generator. A boiler is a pressure vessel which is used to generate the steam. We can say it is a steam generator at a saturated temperature, at high pressure and high temperature. Generally, bi-drum water tube is used. So skip it. A bi-drum generate bi-drum. It is not of your concern, but boiler, it is a steam generator. Steam generator means what? The section, it is a section where the heat from the traditional fuel or the conventional fuel is utilized to convert water into steam. So once we are converting the water into the steam, it means we are converting the water into steam. That's why the device is known as a steam generator. This device is known as a steam generator. Now my question is, at what temperature water starts to boil, or at what is the boiling temperature of water?
100 degrees Celsius.
100 degrees
Perfect.
Celsius.
Perfectly correct. At 100 degrees Celsius, water starts to boil. Means at that instant, the vapor starts to form. But the nature of the vapor is wet vapor. Means that vapor consists of the water droplets. The vapor consists of some water droplet. In order to reduce that water droplet, we have to raise the temperature of that steam to approximately minimum 180 degrees Celsius. We have to make the temperature of that steam to approximately 180 degrees Celsius. Why we have to raise the temperature approximately 180 degrees Celsius? Because at 100 degrees Celsius, water contain steam consists of some moisture, water particles. If that water particles is directly entered into the steam, directly enter into the turbine, in that case, they get deposited on the blades of the turbine and the life of the turbine get reduced. Okay, so we have to reduce the amount of moisture present into the steam. That's why we are raising the temperature of that steam to approximately 180 degrees Celsius, so that the moisture into the steam is reduced and the nature of that steam is turned into the saturated steam or superheated steam. Okay, my point is, at 100 degrees Celsius, water starts to form its vapor. First case. But we required steam at what temperature? At what temperature?
180 degrees Celsius.
At 180 degrees Celsius, the nature of steam is superheated steam or dry steam. Which steam? Steam become superheated or dry steam. Which steam? Dry steam. At 100 degrees, very good. At 100 degrees Celsius, the nature of steam is wet steam. Wet steam. And at 180 degrees Celsius minimum, the nature of steam is dry steam. Okay. We require dry steam. Okay. So once we have the steam in the boiler or steam collector at around 180 degrees Celsius, that is dry steam, then we are passing that dry steam to the turbine. Then we are passing that steam to the steam turbine. Now the second point is, over here. The boiler is clear to each one of you. What is boiler? Boiler is a steam generator. Okay. Boiler, it is a steam generator. It once at 100 degrees Celsius, it develops a wet steam, and the superheater is required to raise the temperature of that wet steam into the dry steam. So the function of superheater is to raise the temperature of wet steam to the superheated steam, that is dry steam at around 180 degrees Celsius. So I guess the function of the boiler and the superheater is clear to each one of you. My question is, what is the function of boiler? What is the function of boiler? It is a
Steam generator.
very good. It is a steam generator. Very good. What is the function of superheater?
To convert wet steam into dry steam.
Perfectly correct. Very good. Perfectly correct. Very nice. Means whatever I'm trying to tell you, you get convinced or you understood what is going on. Nice. Then the third part is turbine. So this is our boiler. Okay. This is our boiler. Once the boiler, the water get converted into the steam, and the steam is allowed to pass through this inlet to the turbine. So this is our turbine. So turbine, it is nothing but the turbine is a mechanical device. What is turbine? It is a mechanical device which convert the kinetic and the pressure energy of the steam into the useful work. Now here, whatever the steam we have, that is now superheated steam. It has a temperature around 180 degrees Celsius and it possesses some pressure. So in order to use that temperature and the pressure, we need to convert that pressure energy or that temperature into some useful work. So the turbine coming into the picture. A turbine is a mechanical device which converts the kinetic and the pressure energy of steam into the useful work. So how it is converted that pressure into the useful work? So from the superheater, the steam goes into the turbine. Now here it is a superheater. Okay. From superheater, the steam goes to the turbine. So from superheater, please unmute yourself, everybody. Please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself. From the superheated steam, it goes to the turbine. Say this is a superheated section, and the steam enter into the turbine. Steam enter into the turbine. Here it expand. Now here the work of expansion of steam is utilized. So high pressure steam is bombarded over the turbines, and the work of expansion is started to be absorbed by the turbine. Turbine where it expand and loses its kinetic and pressure energy and rotate the turbine blade, which rotate the turbine shaft connected to the blades. The point is, once the superheated steam bombard on the turbine blades, the blade starts to rotate. Once the blade starts to rotate, the shaft mounted, it starts to rotate. This is the shaft on which the blades are mounted. Because of the rotation of the blade, the shaft starts to rotate. And now the rotation means the mechanical energy. The rotation means the mechanical energy or the kinetic energy of the shaft we are getting. The function of turbine is to convert one form of the energy, that is the pressure energy and the kinetic energy of the steam, into the mechanical work output, where the work of expansion of the steam is obtained. My question is, what is the input of turbine? Which type of the energy is input for the turbine and which type of the energy is output of the turbine?
Heat energy or pressure energy is input.
Yes, steam energy is input.
Mechanical energy is output.
Very good, very good. Mechanical energy and the mechanical energy of the shaft is output. Very good, perfect. Next. Now once we are getting the mechanical energy as a rotation, that shaft is connected to the turbine, and the turbine is connected, the shaft is connected to the generator. Then the generator is used to utilize the that rotation to develop the electricity. That electricity is further transferred to the substation, and from that to the source. But when this is the steam which is having high temperature and high pressure, it get expand, and whatever the amount of heat possessed by it, it is maximally extract. So at the exit of the turbine, at the exit of the turbine, the steam is reduced to its temperature and pressure. The pressure and the temperature is dropped by the steam, and then it allowed to pass into the condenser. Then it is allowed to pass into the condenser. As usual, it is steam. The steam it is nothing but it is one form of the water. So it is allowed to go into the condenser. So now here it is a condenser, steam condenser. Now the output of the turbine is output steam comes and enter into the condenser. What is steam condenser? A steam condenser is a closed vessel. It is a closed vessel. Or it is a heat exchanger. Heat exchanger means any device that exchanges the heat. Okay. So here it is the heat exchange takes place. It converts low pressure steam to water. So already in the condenser it has a low temperature, and the steam comparatively steam is having the high pressure, high temperature. High temperature steam comes in contact with the low temperature tubes. Ultimately the condensation takes place. Condensation takes place means the conversion of steam into the water takes place. So whatever the steam coming in contact with the tubes, the condenser tubes, they turns their state and they convert them into the water. So the condensate coming out of the condenser. So my question to each one of you is, what is the inlet to the condenser and what is the outlet of the condenser? What is the inlet of the condenser?
Low pressure steam.
Very good. And what is the outlet?
Water.
Pure water.
Pure water or water? Very good. Nice. Great. So the traditional power plant, that is nothing but the combustion power plant. It is used to work for the electricity generation, recovery of the blast furnace. So I guess working of this thermal power plant is understood by each and everybody. Is there any doubt, query, in the working of the thermal power plant? See, this is your furnace, this is your water tank, this is the section, it is your steam collector, this is the part where you're passing the high pressure steam to the turbine. The steam, chalo, let's start. Which energy is possessed by this fuel? Say it is coal. Coal is a conventional source of energy or non-conventional source of energy?
Non-conventional.
It is conventional or non-conventional coal?
Non-conventional.
It is conventional source of use for fuels. Conventional means traditional. Since traditionally we are using coal as a fuel. Okay, so it is a conventional source of energy. So after heating it, we are getting the heat energy. Okay, that heat energy is inlet act as a boiler. So here the conversion of water takes place, water into the steam takes place. Okay, then water into the steam takes place. Okay, then the steam is allowed, the steam, it is firstly it is a wet steam. Okay, then wet steam is converted into the
Dry stream.
by means of using
Superheater.
Steam turbine.
stupor-heater. Very good. Then that stupor-heater steam is allowed to, or dry steam is allowed to pass into the turbine. So what is the output of the turbine? What is the output of
Mechanical
turbine?
energy.
Mechanical energy.
Very good, very good, very good.
Mechanical energy.
Nice. What is the outlet of that turbine over here towards the condenser? What is the outlet of the turbine towards the condenser?
Low power heat. Steam.
Low power steam.
Low pressure steam. Okay, good, good. Then once the low pressure steam is the inlet of the condenser, what is the outlet of the condenser?
Water.
Pure water.
Water. Very good. And from the pump, the cycle is going on continuously. Okay. So I guess the working of
Continuous
the So I guess the working of the thermal power plant is clear to each one of you. Now moving towards what are these advantages and disadvantages. So the fuel use is a cheap, less initial cost is required to generate the plant mass. If I wish to establish the hydraulic power plant, to install it, it takes years and years, but it is not like that. We have to install the machinery and the plant is ready for work, get to go. It is installed anywhere, it can be installed anywhere. It requires less space compared to the hydroelectric power plant. A disadvantage side is it has a pollution as a big issue, and the cost of running cost is high as we required continuously conventional fuel supply for the plant to be run. Then, what is the application of thermal energy? We are thermal power plant. The application is to generate the electricity. Okay, so this is today's my agenda. I guess the agenda is clear to each one of you. If anybody is having any doubt, query, please ask me in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask me anything. If anybody is having any doubt, query, please ask me.
Sir,
Please tell me.
sir, you are going to share this PPT with us?
100%.
Okay, sir. No problem.
No issue. Let me share you the link of the attendance in the chat box for the latecomers. You have to go to the link and fill the attendance sheet. Anybody is willing to ask me something? If no, you may can leave the session. So before leaving the session, please fill the attendance sheet. I am not going to conduct the separate attendance. You have to click on this link and fill the attendance sheet. The session is over here. Those who wish to talk to me, you may can talk.